Welcome to the Quiet Your Inner Mean Girl podcast, a place for you to find the courage you need to take the first step and every step thereafter to create the habits, the confidence, and the life that you love. I'm your host, health and life coach, Abby Hegney. Let's dive in. Welcome back. Episode 20. It has been 20 weeks, my friends, and I have been having so much fun bringing you this podcast every week. And I'll be honest, today, I'm not feeling my best. I've been battling this lingering cold for a while now, and just when I think it's gone, it comes back. So if I sound a little funny, it's because I'm just dealing with some congestion, and hopefully I can get through this episode without having a coughing fit because I'm really excited to be here today. I'm excited to celebrate 20 episodes. That's almost 6 months. And part of me wants to say that I can't believe it, but I can believe it because I know it came from me deciding to do this. It came from me deciding to go all in and commit to delivering you this podcast every week. And I'm so grateful that I had the courage to do it. Even though looking back on that first episode, I was terrified. And I'm so grateful for my friend who had reached out and said, you know what? I think you should start a podcast. She's the reason that we're here, my friends. And I'm so grateful for her because I'm just having so much fun. And I'm so grateful that I took her advice and I took the first step. And I'm so grateful that I believed in myself enough to start and that I'm continuing to deepen my commitment to delivering you powerful messages week after week so that you too can have the courage to release the limitations you've put on yourself and create the habits and the confidence and the life that you want, the life that you desire, the one that you deserve, the life that you envision living, the one where you feel healthy and confident, where you feel more balanced and less stress, the one where you're more present with your family and your friends, the one where you finally nail down the routine that you've been craving. And it just feels so good. The one where you feel comfortable in your own skin, where you put on your clothes and you walk out of the house and you're no longer self-conscious about the way that you look. The life where you have your own back and you trust that you can handle the challenges that come your way without backing down. The life that maybe right now feels far away, but only because you've put limitations on yourself. Today, we are going to talk about releasing those limitations so that you can create the life that you crave. And this episode could not come at a more perfect time. When I saw the date of this podcast release, I knew that this is exactly what I wanted to talk to you about today. Because 3 years ago today, I gave myself permission to release a whole lot of limitations I was putting on myself. And I'm so glad that I did because it changed my life. On this day, October 25th, 3 years ago, I was let go from my job of 10 years due to an organizational restructure. 2 days before my birthday. So happy birthday to me. And listen, I saw the writing on the wall. This was part of a bigger project, and I saw it coming for a while. I knew that eventually this was probably going to be the outcome, but it still felt like a big blow. I had spent 10 years in that role, fostering relationships with my partners around the world, overseeing exponential growth, launching new initiatives, working with top-level executives, creating a really strong team, a team and an organization that I had just supported through a global pandemic. I really did love my job. And in one instance, it was gone. The six-figure salary, the benefits, the relationships, the stability. I felt like who I had been for nearly a quarter of my life was just washed away. And like anybody in that same situation, my mind spiraled. I felt all of the hard emotions, the overwhelm, the confusion, the doubt, the frustration, sadness, anger, disappointment. You name it, I felt it. And I felt it for weeks. The thought of searching for a new job, going to a new place, starting all over again felt horrible. But at the same time, all I could think about was we have a family and we have a house and we have bills. And I had always been a contributor to our lifestyle, and I love that. And at the time, I had been coaching. I'd been coaching for a couple of years, but like here and there on the side, before and after work, whenever like I had time to slot in a client, I would coach. And coaching is what I wanted to be doing. When I first discovered coaching, I have never felt, other than when I met my husband, I have never felt such a strong pull towards something in my life. I knew right away that I was meant to be a coach. I went to my husband. I was like, this is what I'm doing. I had made the decision. He couldn't talk me out of it. I knew it was what I wanted, and I was going all in on it. And then after I got certified in 2019, I would talk about how one day I would have my own coaching business. I would coach full time. And then here I was a few years later, face to face with that opportunity. It was like a blinking neon sign in front of my face saying, hey, lady, now is your time. Now is your chance to do it. This is what you've been waiting for. You can be a coach now. And yet, day after day, I felt myself turning my back on that opportunity. I kept telling myself that I couldn't do it, that I wasn't the kind of person who took that risk. I was the kind of person who needed stability. I was the kind of person who needed to know that it was going to work out before I could go all in. I had to be ready. I needed evidence that it was possible, that I was going to be successful. I needed to know that it would all be okay. I had to feel safe. These are just some of the limitations we put on ourselves that hold us back from finding the courage to create the habits and the confidence and the life that we really want. Limitations that convince us that it's not possible, that we can't do it, that we're not ready, that it's not the right time, that it's too hard, too risky. Limitations that convince us we are someone other than who we want to be. Tells us like, no, 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 that's not you. You can't go over there. That's for other people. That is not for you, even though that is what you want. These are limitations that have us fearing failure more than we desire the change. These limitations feel safe, but only because it's what we know. It's what we've always done. It's where we've always been. And maybe for you, your limitations sound more like, I just don't have the time. I'm always so busy. I'm always so tired. I never have the energy. I'm too lazy. I can't stick with anything. I've never been consistent. I've never been able to be consistent. I'm not a morning person. I'm just not motivated. I overthink. I overanalyze everything. I know for me, when I was struggling with my body, my limitations sounded more like I'll never be confident. Those women, those girls, they're confident. I'll never be that way. Or I have no control. Or I'm all in or I'm all out. The list of limitations goes on and on and on. And it will continue to go on and on and on until you learn to quiet your inner mean girl and release the limitations that you so easily put on yourself. But before you can release them, you have to know what they are. You may know right away, hearing me talk about this, what your limitations are. But if not, you can start to explore your own limitations by thinking about what stories do you tell yourself that pull you back into your old ways, into the habits that you so desperately want to break free from. That no matter how excited you are about something, how ready you are to take action, you end up self-sabotaging yourself and your progress by falling victim to these limiting beliefs. What are the stories that deflate any motivation you had or cause your self-doubt to increase? What stories cause you to stress or worry or make you feel a sense of shame? Stories that make you believe, well, this is just who I am, this is what I do, in a way that feels so defeating, a way in which you feel stuck, where it feels like there is no way out. These are your limitations, and they will always be there, no matter how many steps you take or how far along you get. They will always be there until you let them go. Eventually, they will pull you back in. They will pull you back into your old habits. They'll show you all of the evidence for why you can't do it, why you can't keep up. They'll overwhelm and discourage you until you end up giving up. But when you know these limitations, you can see them for what they are. They're stories that keep you safe within the comfort of what you know. The limitations you put on yourself are your comfort zone. So, how do we release these limitations? First, you have to be willing to find safety and comfort in the discomfort of the unknown. Your brain will work to keep you safe in the comfort of what it knows. But when you want to create change, this is the most uncomfortable place that you can be. And the only reason you would stay there is because it's known. But if you are willing to step into the unknown, to feel the discomfort, the temporary discomfort that comes with it, and you are willing to trust that you are safe, you will break down those limitations. You will take steps that move you closer to where you want to be. You will trust that they are the right steps for you in that moment. You'll celebrate your courage for taking those steps and the confidence that you build every step that you take. You'll build upon what works, and more importantly, you'll face any challenges that come your way with curiosity. Curiosity that allows you to learn from it and to keep going when you used to give up. When you are willing to step into the unknown and to feel the discomfort that comes with creating change and releasing the limitations, you take giving up off of the table. And before you know it, it becomes who you are and what you do in the most powerful way possible. Looking back on 3 years ago, when I was let go from my job, and 10 years prior to that, when I finally had the courage to quiet my inner mean girl and tell her, not today. And I started to write the stories that I wanted to be a part of my life. This is what I did. I heard the limitations. I felt the limitations and all of the hard emotions that came with them. And I allowed myself to focus on what was on the other side. A life free from my inner mean girl, where I could look in the mirror and be proud of my body instead of constantly beating myself up. A life where I could find confidence in who I was instead of thinking that I needed to be someone else. A life that wasn't ruled by good food and bad food, a life that wasn't littered with restrictions or a constant cycle of diets and quick fixes, a life in which I lived with intention, in which I showed up for the woman that I wanted to be, focused on how I wanted to feel and making decisions that aligned with how I wanted to feel and the life that I wanted to create. A life in which I didn't spend my time waiting for the right time to go after what I really wanted. A life in which I bet on myself and what I was capable of. A life in which I didn't let fear of failure hold me back, but instead chose to go all in on my commitment to figuring it out. A life in which safety doesn't come from a job or a title or a salary or a bank account or a benefits package or a number on a scale, but one in which it comes from me, from the decisions I make, the actions I take, and what I choose to believe is possible. Your inner mean girl will always default back to your original thought process. But if you are clear on what these stories are and how they make you feel, you can intercept them quickly. You can walk through it and you can continue to keep your face and your feet pointed in the direction you want to go. If you find yourself coming up against a limitation, or if this podcast has brought light to the limitations you have been putting on yourself, and you find yourself retreating back to your old ways, talking yourself out of taking that next step or the first step, the only thing that will help you to overcome this is to quiet your inner mean girl and find safety in who you want to be. When I look back on 3 years ago, I had the decision to make that I could continue to believe those stories about me. I could continue to put those limitations on myself and my life. Or I could continue, or I could release those limitations and create the life that I wanted to be living. When I made the decision to go all in on my coaching business, I took myself to the worst case scenario. What if I did fail? What if I never signed a client or made another dollar in my business? And I found safety in the failure. I saw that even my worst case scenario wasn't as bad as my brain wanted me to believe that it was. And through that process, I learned the most valuable lesson. I saw that I am capable of figuring it out, and that the only way I can truly fail is to stop trying altogether. And I can tell you that is not an option for me. That is not the woman I want to be. And that is not what I want to create in my life. I have a mission to help as many women as I can to feel healthier and more confident and to live the life that they want. And that doesn't come from giving up on myself. I tell my clients all of the time that by the end of their time in Confident Mind and Body, they will become master problem solvers of their lives. This is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. The willingness and the ability to solve for the challenges that come your way, to not back down, to release the limitations you're putting on yourself, and to trust that you are capable of figuring it out. That's exactly what we do inside of Confident Mind and Body. It's why my clients are reaching their goals faster and easier than they ever thought possible. They're releasing the limitations that have held them back for far too long. And they are stepping into the most confident version of the woman they are meant to be. If you start doing this too, if you talk to yourself the way you want to talk to yourself, if you give yourself permission to release the limitations that have been holding you back and to walk through the discomfort of the unknown, you will create the habits, the confidence, and the life that you want, and you'll create it faster and easier than ever before. Be willing to release those limitations. Be willing to step out of your comfort zone, no matter how uncomfortable it feels. Keep yourself focused on the life that is on the other side. I hope that this episode was super helpful to you. I hope that you take it, that it helps you to identify your limitations, and that you give yourself permission to break them down and to step into the discomfort and to create the habits and the confidence and the life that you want. And if you want help with this, I invite you to join me next week for a very special week. Next week, I am offering Consult Week. I have opened my calendar up from October 28th to November 1st to help as many women as possible through a free 1-hour consultation call. During this call, we'll explore where you are right now and where you want to be and the limitations that have been holding you back. We'll discuss what it would look like to work together in Confident Mind and Body and if it's a right fit for you. And if it is, we'll talk about next steps. And if not, you're going to walk away from this call with at least 3 things that you can work on that will help you to release those limitations and create the habits, the confidence, and the life that you want. Consults will be on a first come, first serve basis. So visit my website, Wellness with Abby H, or click on the link in the show details and you can schedule directly there. I cannot wait to see you in Consult Week, and I will talk to you next week. If you are ready to quiet your inner mean girl, I invite you to join me inside Confident Mind and Body, my private coaching program, where you will learn to quiet your inner mean girl and create the habits, the confidence, and the life that you love. Just visit wellnesswithabbych.com and schedule a free consultation.